Hare Krishna, everyone, and welcome back again to our lecture series on the glories of our most beloved Sri Vrindavan Dham. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nivishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshvatarine. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So we're continuing with our mini-series on Stimulation for Ecstatic Love, and this will be part 105. In this lecture, we will continue to discuss the fourth quality of Krishna that, again, distinguishes him from Lord Narayan, called Rupa Madhuri, his extraordinary beauty. And we will continue speaking about today his face. Now, you remember last week we discussed the beauty and significance of Krishna's nose, which we described as the most prominent feature of his face. So today we'll discuss another important aspect of the Lord's charming face features, and that is his lips. His lips. As Gaudiya Vaishnavas striving to awaken our love for Krishna, we should actually hanker to see this particular feature of the Lord's face, his lips. Just as the great saint Sri Bivamangal Thakur did, Bivamangal Thakur, in chapter 8 of Nectar of Devotion, Srila Prabhupada quotes Bivamangal Thakur. I'm eagerly waiting to see that boy of Vrindavan whose bodily beauty is captivating the whole universe, whose eyes are always bounded by black eyebrows and expanded like lotus petals, who is always eagerly glancing over his devotees and therefore slightly moving here and there. His eyes are always moist, his lips are colored like copper, and through those lips there comes a sound vibration which drives one madder than a mad elephant. I want to see him so much in Sri Vrindavan Dham. So in the same mood, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Anchilila 1563, Lord Chaitanya recited the following verse, which was originally spoken by Srimati Radharani to her dear friend Vishaka, where she refers to the beauty of Krishna's lips. My dear friend, the luster of Krishna's body is more brilliant than that of a newly formed cloud, and his yellow dress is more attractive than newly arrived lightning. A peacock feather decorates his head, and on his neck hangs a lovely necklace of brilliant pearls as he holds his charming flute to his lips. His face looks as beautiful as the full autumn moon. By such beauty, Madan Mohan, the enchanter of Cupid, is increasing the desire of my eyes to see him. From the lotus mouth of Srimati Radharani. Now that verse is also found in Govinda Lilamrita 8.4, chapter 4. And what will be the result, I was thinking, of meditating on Krishna's lips? So I found a verse. Verse 24 of Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antilila chapter 15, answers the question. The sweetness of the nectar of Krishna's lips, when mixed with the camphor of his slight smile, steals the minds of women. It takes all their other desires away, and when they don't get this nectar, their minds are agitated. Indeed, this nectar is the first and foremost treasure of the women of Braj. So it takes all other desires away. Of course, we know their only desire is Krishna, but just to stress the point, this is what happens. So powerful, meditating on Krishna's lips. Now, chapter 21 of Nectar Devotion describes that when Krishna turns 6 years old, his copper-colored lips, it's described, copper-colored lips, mentioned earlier by Bivamangal Thakur, they take on a reddish luster. A luster, the acharyas say, is found in 6 other places on his body, including his eyes, palate, nails, palms, and soles. And I was reading that some poets compare this reddish color to bimba fruit, others to the mandu jiva flower, and still others compare it to the color of a rose apple. getting some details here about Krishna's lips. In Srimad Bhagavatam 2.132, other acharyas write that Krishna's lips are moderately full, meaning neither too thick or too thin. A gorgeous, soft red glow defines his lips at their edge, a glow further embellished by the rays of his teeth as he speaks. I like that part, the rays of his teeth as he speaks. They say that Krishna's lips are famous for their taste and their fragrance, both of which are likened to enchanting nectar, indescribable sweetness, and honey drawn from the beehives of the gardens in Vaikuntha. Honey drawn from the beehives of the gardens in Vaikuntha. However, only Mother Yasoda, Srimati Radharani, a few fortunate gopis, and Krishna's wives in Dwarka taste Krishna's lips directly. Krishna's lips directly. Of course, his wives in Dwarka are free to enjoy such a blessing, but not so the unwedded girls of Vrindavan, the gopis. One scholar has written, the lawful access Krishna's wives have to his lips is a source of divine envy for Vrindavan's milkmaids. And I found Srimad Bhagavatam 1:10-28 confirms this in a beautiful verse. O friends, just think of his wives, whose hands he has accepted, how they must have undergone vows, sacred baths, fire sacrifices, and perfect worship of the Lord of the universe to constantly relish now the nectar from his lips by kissing. The damsels of Brajabhumi would often faint just by expecting such favors. That's the most important line. The damsels of Brajabhumi would often faint just by expecting such favors. However, the gopis are not only divinely jealous of the wives of Krishna in Dwarka, but very much so of Krishna's flute as well, which he constantly puts to his lips, how could you say, to charm the residents of Vrindavan. In Srimad Bhagavatam 10:21-9, one gopi very famously says to another, because this is a very famous verse, my dear gopis, what auspicious activities must the flute have performed to enjoy the nectar of Krishna's lips independently and leave only a taste for us gopis for whom the nectar is actually meant. It's a famous verse. Now, it's said that the Panchajanya conch shell is also a close associate of Krishna's lips, but it doesn't share the same degree of intimacy that the flute enjoys with Krishna. So it's not counted in the same category as the flute. The Panchajanya conch enjoys a more formal role of declaring Krishna's arrival or perhaps challenging an enemy, roles that I was reading our acharyas consider as inferior to the flute's intimate service of conveying messages to the Brajavasis, especially the gopis. And in doing so, the flute has more access to Krishna's lips than the gopis do. And the gopis painfully acknowledge this in Srimad Bhagavatam 10:31-14, addressing Krishna directly. They say there in the Bhagavatam, O hero, kindly distribute to us the nectar of your lips, which enhances romantic pleasure, vanquishes grief, is thoroughly relished by your flute, and makes people forget any other attachment. So these sentiments actually echo the words of Krishna's dearmost gopi, Srimati Radharani, as we hear in another verse, lots of verses today, Chaitanya Charitamrita Ancha Lila chapter 16. Therein, Radharani addresses Krishna. My dear lover, let me tell you of a few essential qualities of your transcendental lips. My dear lover, let me tell you of a few essential qualities of your transcendental lips. She goes on. They agitate the mind and body of everyone. They increase desires for enjoyment. They destroy the burden of material happiness and lamentation, and they make one forget all material tastes. The whole world falls under the control of your nectarian lips. They vanquish shame, religion, and patience, especially in women. Indeed, they inspire madness in the minds of all women in creation. Sri Radha continues, your lips increase the greed of the tongue and thus attract it. All things considered, to us and to the rest of the world, the activities of your transcendental lips appear paradoxical. Paradoxical. From Radha, Sri Radha. So, in those and other verses we quoted today, we hear the gopis' desires to taste the nectar of Krishna's lips. But one very important thing to consider is that as aspiring devotees, we shouldn't try to imitate such great devotees, eternal associates of the Lord, who hanker for such intimate association with Krishna. As humble followers of Srila Prabhupada and Sri Rupa Goswami, we do not desire direct contact with Krishna's lips. Rather, we want to serve those who have such contact. In this way, we'll eventually taste everything that they taste. I found a little quote the other day somewhere, but it rhymes with that. It said that although a bee collects honey from the flowers of a creeper, the leaves of the creeper also hear the bee's humming and feel its touch. And so it is for the servants of the servants of the servants of Krishna. In Ujjvala Nilamani 13:11, one devotee prays. This is very nice. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. I beg you, whenever you touch the charming bimba fruit of Krishna's lips, please whisper in his ear and tell him how I burn with the desire to attain him. So in that mood, again, servant of the servant of the servant, we can conclude today with texts 287, 288, and 289 of Sri Rupa Goswami's Padyavali, in which Sri Rupa Goswami is glorifying the nectar of Krishna's lips, asking only for the constant protection of the Lord. This is how we have to feel, hanker. He writes, and we conclude, on a wonderful night in delightful Vrindavan forest, filled with the fragrance of jasmine flowers, illuminated by beautiful moonlight and made charming by the singing of the cuckoos and other birds, Krishna's sweet flute music, which stole away the gopis' hearts and bodies, was splendidly manifest. Filled with the sweet nectar of Krishna's lips, the playful sound of the flute delighted the doe-eyed gopis, and the sages. May Krishna, who thirsted after the honey of the gopis' lips, and whose playful, talkative flute music made the gopis tremble, protect you from all dangers. Protect you from all dangers. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Sri Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, again and again and again. So that's it for today, Prabhus. We actually have more nectar on Krishna's lips, but you have to wait till next Friday. Thank you so much. Shri Shri Gauranitai ki, Shri Shri Krishna Balaram ki, Shri Shri Radha Shamba Sundar ki, Vrindavan Eshwari Shrimati Radharani ki, Krishna's lips ki, Mayapur Dham ki, Gauranitai ki, Shri Krishna Sankirtan Yagya ki, Nitai Gaur Premanandi, Jai Jai Sri Sri Radhe Shyam. Glories to Shri